That's James's dinner for today. We're going to be talking about John Fogerty Legacy, Creedence Clearwater Revival, and Frasier got top of the stacks against these other movies here. So I don't know if I need to show you the work that we were doing to try to analyze these lyrics. I guess James will just talk. So, do you want to start with Fortunate Son, or do you want to start?
It's theirs.
Well, you can flip it over just as easily. So, split the screen, pull up a new window with the lyrics to Fortunate Son, and we'll get going on reviewing this, and then I'll talk about the movies if I have time.
So it's done by Creedence here. This is redone by John Fogerty and I guess one of his sons, maybe a couple of his sons or something like that. Some sort of relation. Someone plays a guitar.
Yeah, it says co-produced by Shane Fogerty, executive producer Julie Fogerty.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that's maybe a daughter.
Featuring Shane Fogerty, Tyler Fogerty, Rob Stone, Bob Malone, Matt Chamberlain, Ross Lubin.
So I figured there were a couple of what looked like maybe his sons, maybe his grandsons, hard to say. Anyway, so.
But it's great. I think it's gotten top of the stack of everything we've listened to this fall.
It could be, but it should be pointed out we haven't been listening to really good stuff. Huge selling stuff, especially in the case of Taylor Swift. So the thing about Creedence was, someone made a joke about them, says, man, oh man, they were always in the top 40, but they never made it up more than number 3. But most people don't even make it to top 40, and much less number 3.
Yeah.
Got to be frustrating for John Fogerty, because I think he thought it was maybe like competition for the Beatles. He might have thought that he was surpassing them. Same sort of thing with Velvet Underground. Lou Reed thought he put out the best album in 1960. Well, the Velvet Underground in 1967. Big trouble is that group was just Lou Reed in terms of its creative core. Creedence, it was just John Fogerty at the creative core. With Buffalo Springfield, I mentioned before, they actually had the second best album in 1967 from what I've heard. That was Buffalo Springfield's second album, but they had 3 pretty good writers, Richie Fury, Neil Young, and Steve Stills. What can I say? They had one Aussie writer to drum. Anyway, I think they gave him room for one, so it's pretty bad. Anyway, so this is maybe one of the best protest songs. I'm not a big fan of protest songs or whatever. Usually they, like the worst out there, maybe the worst is All We Are Saying is Give Peace a Chance. That sort of stuff. John Lennon, when that came out, I was going, what is happening here? It must have been, was it the summer of 1969?
Yeah, that's a terrible song. So
it's barely a song.
Here with Fortunate Son, there's very few. I mean, you might look at Creedence lyrics and go, well, they're pretty simple. You can understand them. And that's not a bad thing. And
do what you can handle.
Tended to, or I guess John Fogerty tended to write what he could handle writing. And if you don't, then you're not being true to yourself. You're not expressing your art, and you're being pretentious. So, as
opposed to arrogant. There's a lot of arrogance going around, but sadly way too much of it is pretension. Pretension is where you're pretending to be better than you are.
Mm-hmm. So we did notice a few things in this with some folks. He says some folks are born to wave the flag, but
yeah, he sings that some folks are born made to wave, but it should be some folks are born made to wave the flag. He's young when he wrote this, but he's not blowing it all over the place. It's just like with pretty well every line.
And
Haven't we found
that
with
same,
most of the people
some
we looked
folks, you know, reversal of accents is right through it.
at? Yeah, so he does
So,
that in the
At least it's
beginning
consistent.
of the second verse.
You
Some
know,
folks
but
are, you know,
yeah, that's really the
Some
only
folks are
thing
bold.
that we found in that one, right?
made to wave the flag, the red,
Mhm.
white, and blue. And then plays Hail to the Chief. Yeah, so my review is, I'm just going to read it. Some folks are born made to wave the flag, because some of this reminds me of the present-day president of the United States. They're red, white, and blue. When the band plays Hail to the Chief, they point a cannon at you. Lord, it ain't me, it ain't me. I ain't no senator's son. It ain't me, it ain't me. I ain't no fortunate one. Yeah, he screwed that one up.
Oh,
I ain't
yeah,
no
fortunate one.
He says fortunate one. Emphasize the one. Yeah. Some folks are born silver spoon in hand. I like that. Because the expression he's playing with
Is in the mouth.
in the mouth. But you see, like that's like a baby or something like that. But Lord, don't they help themselves when the tax man comes to the door? The house looks like a rummage sale. He said it looked like, I don't like that fake black Eddie, but that's okay. The house looks like a rummage sale. Some folks inherit star-spangled eyes. They send you down to war. And when you ask them, how much should we give? The only answer, more, more, more. Okay? So, it ain't me, I ain't no, military son, and after the second verse, I ain't no millionaire's son. You know, some folks are born silver spoon in hand. Donald Trump to a T, right? Don't they help themselves? So, yeah, I mean, it starts out, you know, it's just a guitar, kind of like it's really stark. It doesn't sound like it's going to be much anything, and then the bass comes in. And it's the bass that moves it. John Fogerty could have been featuring his guitar. His guitar just like, kind of like pumps it up, getting you set for the lyrics. This is the way you write rock and roll, folks. And this is the way you write a protest song. You know, like these guys came from, I don't know what exactly. They came from a place called, I just got a treatment today, but El Cerrito, I think it is, in the San Francisco Bay Area, in the wrong side of the bay, the poor side of the bay. I think these folks were poor. I don't know if they served in the two boys, Tom and John Fogerty, John's the young one. They did their stint in the military, unlike so many. So when they say, they send you down to war, and when you ask them how much should we give, the only answer, more, more, more. And they actually went through it. They're actual, from what I can tell, working class people, instead of idiots who've been to university or going to university or teaching at university.
Yeah, and well, you made a point about protesters back then, and about wealthier people getting away with not going to war, and how
Donald Trump did that. He got out of military service.
And how the draft really, if people are going to be sent to war, then the draft really isn't such a bad thing compared to letting people volunteer. And it's really not volunteering, because it's only going to be people who have really no other option to do that, and that's the greatest form of taxation for somebody is their children, losing their children to go fight in a war.
Taxation.
It's really gross.
Yeah. Traditionally, in a lot of societies, I think it was this way, even going back to ancient Egypt, they'd come into town and they'd have two forms of taxation. There would be another one, but there were two forms of conscription. One was corvée labor, C-O-R-V-E-E. I believe it's two E's, and it comes from French. And that's like putting up pyramids and stuff like that. The other one is labor in the army. The big trouble with that is you can die when you're
Well, and
doing that.
I mean, you have to ask yourself, is it so very different, even here now? I mean, I had no idea that people actually got, the Canadians got pensions from work. I had no idea. I graduated high school, I graduated college. I had no clue. Nobody had told me that. I don't think my parents knew because they came from a farm, from farming backgrounds, right? And so, like, we knew that there was Canada pension for, once people got to be 65, and now they've raised that up. But for working, no, I had no idea. So then, how many people don't know? How many people aren't given that information? And then is it a level playing ground? Really? But anyway, we're talking about John Fogerty, and here I'm the one who's getting off topic. So,
it's not off topic. This is.
So you want to talk about Who'll Stop the Rain now? Because it's the next one on the bottom. Of
I
that
know.
other
I'm
side.
going to leave that one to the last. Actually.
That one's James's favorite.
I
So
think it
he
is
wants-
actually up there of John Fogerty's songs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the Beatles, it might have been Paul McCartney, could have been Lennon, could have been both, asked, I believe it's the publisher, it might have been Dick James or someone involved with music publishing. This is early on, maybe even before they made it big, at least in the United States. What do you do? How do you write a good song? And this guy didn't say anything about music or whatever. I'd be old-fashioned guy, Tin Pan Alley, all that. So that's what he would have been raised on. He said,
Babies.
write a story. It's just that simple. Write a story. Listen to Eleanor Rigby, and there's a story there. It's in 3 verses, and I believe there's a bridge at the beginning. Paul McCartney played around. It isn't obvious he's playing around. He's not doing the. He was experimental, but his experiments didn't fail.
So pull up the lyrics to Lodi now, because that's what he's going to talk about.
Well, like, write a story. But I'm just get irritated. I'm an experimental artist, yeah, but 99% of your experiments fail. And when scientists do that, you don't hear about the experiments that fail. They don't visit them on you. Okay, so Lodi. I kind of get the feeling that Fortunate Son, this guy kind of experienced some of this stuff here. Lodi, I get the feeling experienced this kind of stuff here. These guys, as the saying goes, paid their dues. I got hold of their box set, Creedence, and the first whole album. It's, I believe, 5 or 6 albums. The first whole, and maybe the last album and a half are just live stuff. They didn't last very long. But the first album is stuff that they did before they were even close to being big. They paid their dues, particularly John Fogerty, because I gather the founder of the group and the leader for a long, long time, way too long a time, was his older brother, who had to be the big boss, I'm afraid. Like, I'm not going to say Tom Fogerty had no talent, but by comparison to John Fogerty, he wasn't on the same planet. So, again, I'm going to read the thing. Just about a year ago, I set out on the road, seeking my fame and fortune, looking for a pot of gold. Things got bad, things got worse. I guess you know the tune. Oh, Lord. Stuck in Lodi again. Lodi's an actual place, folks. And I suspect, I don't know if he spent a lot of time there, but maybe it's a little bit like Lethbridge. I don't think it's as big as Lethbridge is now. Lethbridge is 100,000 people. The Lodi, as I recall, been there. No. It's kind of southeast of the Bay Area, where Creedence came from. I rode in on a Greyhound. I'll be walking out if I go. It's not when I go, if I go. I was just passing through. What does he say? Must be several months or more. Ran out of time and money. Looks like they took my friends. Oh, Lord, I'm stuck in Lodi again. You notice, the chorus is a refrain. Don't go blasting huge, big, long choruses, especially if you don't have a way with words. Eh? Bob Dylan generally used refrains. When he went crazy on the chorus, like on Like a Rolling Stone, there's too much of it. The man from the magazine said I was on my way. Somewhere I lost connections, ran out of songs to play, came into town on a one-night stand. Looks like my plans fell through. Oh Lord, I'm stuck in Lodi again. If I only had $1 for every song I've sung, every time I've had to play while people sat there drunk, I'd catch the next train back to where I live. Oh Lord, stuck in Lodi again. It didn't end up being stuck in Lodi, but that's because this guy was just oozing talent. He's a pretty good guitar player, and I'm telling you, this is for people who are writing songs. Listen to the way this guy used guitar. It's not, he did a lot of guitar soloing. He put out, it seemed like for a while, 2 albums a year. And he did some good guitar soloing. But listen to the short stuff. That's what Creedence is about. It's the short stuff, the short stuff, the short stuff. Don't go over 4 minutes. Try not to go over 3 minutes. But you'll listen to all sorts of guitar textures. He's even provides his brother. His brother's pumping away on fairly rudimentary rhythms. Believe me, Creedence didn't work very much on the Rolling Stones principle. Compliments of Brian Jones. You listen. I don't know what they did before stereo, but the best is when you've got. Well, actually, the best is Live With Me, which is Keith Richards, on one speaker and the other. You'll hear wham, 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 working back and forth, polyrhythms.
So there were a few rhythm problems with this, but not
but there
much.
Were,
Like the second line, I set out on the road.
He says, I set out on the road. No, I set out on the road.
Yeah.
I probably read it, set out on the road, because I'm just so used to this song, right?
And then... rode in on the Greyhound. That's how we would normally say it, but James says it's actually he likes it this way because it's contrasted with he rode in on the Greyhound, but he'll be walking out if he goes. Right?
So you really would say it more logically the way it rode in on the Greyhound. I'll be walking out if I go. There's the contrast there, and sometimes those take precedence, the varying emphases take precedence over just what would otherwise be the expected rhythmic pattern. Okay? What's the next one?
You have it circled there.
Yeah, exactly right.
Just passing through.
Could be accented on they, but necessary. What is it? Looks like, So ran out of time and money. Looks like they took my friends, but looks like they took my friends. That's okay. You could have said they took my friends, but he sings it more. I think it's better the way he sings the slate.
With the I was just passing through. I think most people would say I was just passing through.
I was just passing through. I was just passing through. I was just passing through. Yeah, again, that's a matter of emphasis. I don't really have a problem with it.
And you have I think it's just a primary, secondary accent problem with if I only had $1, right? Yeah, that's
okay. So how does that one go? If I only had, he sings if I only had $1. You could say if I only had $1, but sometimes if you have an if-then construction, and it's funny, he doesn't use then, but it's several lines later.
And if you've been watching us, James pays attention to not only the primary accents, secondary accents too, and that matters. You can hear it in rock and roll music, especially when it's wrong.
It just makes it seem a little bit clumsy. Rock and roll, oftentimes, because it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got the backbeat emphasized. If you have a verbal accent on the 4,
you won't hear it from anybody else. This is James has set this system up, has recognized it. Other people, you will hear when musicians get it right, but it's not, as far as technical poetry writing, it isn't even acknowledged that there are secondary accents.
rhythm. So what you say? You got iambic pentameter.
You can look in poetry, Princeton's poetry. What is it? Encyclopedia of Poetry
and Poetics.
And you won't find it. You will not find secondary accents, and but they exist, and you can hear them.
And in music, it's in 4/4 time. You've definitely got it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and the 3 isn't as emphasized as the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the way it goes. And so much of rock and roll, pop music generally, has that sort of stuff. Now, people who've written Tin Pan Alley, and to a lesser extent Brill Building Pop, that's like late 50s, early 60s and stuff like that, killed by the Beatles. They generally work from music to, how much, 5?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, they work from the music to the lyric, and they wouldn't, like Hal David working with what's his name? Burt Bacharach. I don't think he put out a scan something or something like that. The way Pauline and especially I write stuff, we could actually put down a scansion sort of thing. We wouldn't actually need the music.
Yeah.
And then what would happen is we could actually set music to it.
She plays the guitar and a few other instruments, I think. She asked me one day, she's like, well, how can you write songs when you don't have a guitar or a piano? Well, it's easier to write when you have a tune in your head. I find if I wake up with a tune, to write lyrics for it.
Yeah.
But if you know how primary and secondary accents work and stuff like that, if you understand rhythm, then you can write this without having music.
You can come up with a form.
You can come up with a good form. So. Anyway, James wanted to mention something else on this. It was something about, you said it wasn't accurate. People wouldn't. What would it? Oh, he ran out of songs to play, and you thought, no, it wouldn't be that.
Yeah, this guy would never run out of songs to play. Yeah. Why? Because he'd write them.
Yeah.
You know? So. That's not accurate. It's not true to his experience. So we mainly looked at the technical side of things, the prosodic side of things, the things that have to do with accent and stuff like that. One thing I'm going to point out is this guy wasn't great shakes when it comes, John Fogerty, great shakes at using rhyme.
No,
I don't care that much about rhyme.
A lot of the time, there's not very much rhyme in his stuff, and a lot of the time, it's not
true rhyme.
Not true rhyme at all. It's really
chime, whatever. Yeah. So
Road and Gold.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, that's your first pair there.
Yeah, so that's just what you call assonance, right?
Yeah,
correspondence of vowels.
And frankly, the way he sings, though, you can't make out what he's saying a lot of the time.
Is that true?
And it's not a bad thing.
Some of the things are like that, but Lodi, I think I got all the words when I was listening to it.
I wrote up I had to look up the words to Bootleg.
Well, Bootleg's kind of funny, because I thought up until this year, they were singing Voulez Voulez or something like that. Bootleg.
Yeah. So, but, and I couldn't hear... hardly any of them.
Some of his rockin' type of things, some of his bluesy type of things, I maybe have trouble with the lyrics. I've never had trouble with Lodi.
Okay, looking out my back door.
Well, I don't know what time is it. What we got left?
That. Well, just go for it. So you just go for it.
Okay, how much time?
About 5 minutes. Go for it.
Okay. I don't know why he had so much trouble.
Feminine. He had trouble with feminine rhymes in this.
No,
they're tougher. There's not as many of them, and a lot of the time you'll try to do put two words together to make up a sort of feminine rhyme, because there's not that many true feminine rhymes to work with, and plus it makes it more interesting when you do that anyway.
What he tends to do oftentimes is have a feminine ending to a line, and he's not even trying to rhyme. So, just got.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So, but what Pauline's talking about is combinations of adjectives and nouns, or a noun with a noun. Front door. When we say front door, we don't say front door. Now, we got to be careful, because I've been listening to some English stuff in movies, and they will sometimes say those things in a different type of way.
Well, it depends on where you're writing from,
Yeah,
but he was not writing from England.
North America tends to be pretty consistent. So, lock the front door, oh boy, or whatever. No, it's not front door. It's front door. Got to sit down, take
he sings,
rest on
I just got home from Illinois. Lock the front door, oh boy.
Yeah, it's not front door.
And that's not it. And it's, oh boy, right?
Oh,
Lock the front door.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
So he's
right?
screwed up.
So that's wrong. Both the front door and oh boy there.
Imagination sets in, he sings. See, he likes having feminine rhyme ending alternating with a masculine, not a feminine ending. And then the next line, masculine. Feminine ending, masculine. It's great, except for some reason or another, English is a Germanic language. It tends to emphasize, unless it's got borrowed words from Latin, the first syllable of a two-syllable word, first syllable of a three-syllable word. That's just the way Germanic languages tend to be. But anyway, it screws them up sometimes. Sets in.
And high heels in this. That's a problem too. And a lot of the time, like with front door, high heels, you think of words like that as having as both parts of it having the same accent, having the same strength of accent. But that is never true. That's never the case.
Not in English. Yeah, so, yeah, he's kind of doing weird rhymes. Illinois, I think he's rhyming with front door, or something like that. Imagination sets in, like that's supposed to be something like a rhyme for singing, right? Pretty soon I'm singing. Mm-hmm. Here he's just going with feminine endings, it seems like, for, the first line and the third line, so on and so forth. So it gets him in trouble with high heels, doing cartwheels, a statue wearing high heels, so gets him in trouble there.
You have happy creatures circled for some reason.
Look at all the happy creatures dancing on the lawn. Look at all the happy creatures. Yeah, that's right. He sings happy creatures. It's a secondary accent problem. We say happy creatures. We don't say happy creatures.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to unhappy creatures or something like that, right?
And you have took a ride circled.
Okay, so where is the... oh, yeah, take a ride. Won't you take a ride? Okay, he sings...
On the flying spoon.
Yeah. So we don't say, won't you take a ride? We say, won't you take a ride? So, yeah, he really screwed this one up, I have to say.
Forward troubles Illinois, and we don't even really know what that means. We're thinking that since he came from Illinois, he's glad to be home, and he's looking at the mail, and he's like, forward this mail back to Illinois. I don't want to look at it, right?
So he locks the front door. He's got inside the porch or something like that. I guess he saw all the mail that came through the door or whatever. Yeah. So he forwarded the troubles to Illinois. I don't know why. Baby's not supposed to be back from Illinois.